Jason Eeyore Carroll, sports director of Pig Trail Nation, and our usual Monday guest, though I'm not able to look at his pretty face today. He usually comes over to do the entire Monday show with us. Jason, who do you miss more? Do you miss me or do you miss the cat?
It's probably half and half, man, really.
Oh, wow. I figured he missed the cat more.
I am kind of missing Kiki. It's been a little while because, last week I didn't come over either. So.
That's right. That's right. Well, there's a Monday next week, so maybe we can plan that out for the two of you to spend some time alone.
First off, when we get started here, I need to, Jenkins' senior photo. I mean, let's talk about that a little bit. He wanted to talk about the boots, but he looks like he's posing for his senior photos in high school.
I wish I looked that good when I was in high school.
What was the name of the place where you always used to do your
Olin Bills?
Well, no, it was the everybody had the popped collar for those famous photos. You're missing the popped collar, but again, who writes your lyrics? SmackDown, and SmackDown can't be your Nashville name if you're going to be a real country star. So I was going to call you artist, but you're not an artist if you don't write your own lyrics.
That's a good point. Well, I put this on Twitter. We had one guy reply back. Mark Freeman said, "Man, I hope the hinge holds." B in Clarksville said, "This picture screams 4-wheel drive."
He also said, "That's your glamour shot."
It's a good picture.
It was glamour shots. That's the one I meant. That's what I meant. All right, Eeyore. You want to? Is there any way you can bring me down after these 2 days of baseball? What do you got for me?
I don't know. I mean, the offense needs to pick up, right?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, that's legit. That's legit.
It is a positive, I think, for Arkansas's offense that Christian Franklin walked and then got that single through the left side yesterday. I think he probably was pressing a little bit, trying to do too much, and maybe swinging at some pitches he wouldn't normally swing at. But I think that's a positive for Arkansas going forward. So that's kind of where I would start, along with the pitching. I mean, getting the performance they got yesterday from Bolden and from Peyton Paulette, I mean, those are two positives you can really build off of. And I'm anxious to see. Dave talked about last night he thinks he's going to try to get Jackson Wiggins, and I want to see. I don't think Arkansas fans really know what they've got in Jackson Wiggins, but the kid's going to be a stud here at Arkansas, and I'm anxious to see if he can locate his pitches tonight because that fastball with that movement is pretty deadly, and I think he's going to be a big force. It may take him a little while this year, but I think he's going to be somebody fans are going to be excited about for the next couple of years.
That Zoom that you mentioned, how we found out that Jackson probably does pitch tonight, I thought was really funny and very Dave Van Horn. You remember Tom Murphy asks the question about who do you think you're going to pitch after Lyle Lockhart, and Dave first says, "Well, I don't want to name any names." And then he names a name and gives you Jackson Wiggins and pretty much tells you who's going to pitch. I thought that was hilarious. I think you're right about that, though. I think Wiggins is going to be the real thing. I do think the team hit better than the 6 hits last night. Texas made some really nice plays in the field. There were a lot of line drives that ended up getting caught. I think this offense will figure it out. So you mentioned about Wiggins, newcomer, Brady Slavens, newcomer. He might not have played if Matt Goodhart had made the trip. Now, from what I understand about Goodhart, it's a non-COVID medical issue, and they've got to let him figure that out before he's able to rejoin the team and play. So whether he plays this weekend, I don't know. But Slavens really does look like a guy that could be an everyday slugger. I think he'll strike out quite a bit. But Jason, like that home run he hit last night, and how hard he swings, and how much of a ball player he looks like. This is a legitimate 15 to 20 home run guy this year.
Well, and I was texting with somebody last night. I mean, here's the deal with Slavens, right? You can take whatever JUCO numbers you want to take, but the dude drove in 40 and hit 14 home runs in 22 games last year. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's power. I don't care what parks you play in, who you're playing against. To be able to put those numbers up in 22 games is legit. And what I'm going to be interested to see is we all know how good Nesbitt is at third. If he doesn't start hitting, I wonder if they might put Wallace at third and put Slavens in the outfield when Goodhart's back. Just to keep that bat in the lineup. I mean, because right now you're giving up offense for defense, and at some point, I wonder if Wallace starts hitting, if that's not a move that they might make. a little bit. Maybe not an everyday kind of move, but I just wonder if that's something they might make.
I think you could be right about that, too. Jalen Battles look good, both at the plate and in the field. I would be surprised if he continues to hit ninth. He might today, but I don't know if he'll hit ninth throughout the rest of this season. He doesn't look like a 9-hole hitter. It's a good bet. It's 2 games, Jason. We make a lot out of beating Texas Tech and Texas because these are 2 teams that compete for Omaha every year. Tech is a true national championship contender this year. They've looked awful these past 2 games, but I think they're going to play a lot better. And Dave always cautions, like, you can't make the biggest deal out of what happens even in these, great baseball tournaments before the conference season starts. You remember in 2016, they played in one of these tournaments in Houston, went 3-0. And it was an awful year for the rest of the season. Last year, 0-3 in Houston, and we don't really know what that would have meant because the season never got going. Wants to be cautious about whatever happens here this weekend.
Yeah, and there's still a lot unknown with this team. I mean, what is Wicklander's role going to be? How's he going to come back from some of his medical stuff? Is Connor Nolan going to be able to turn around his bad fall and bad start, to the preseason, and be a better pitcher? I mean, those are 2 guys who are your Friday, Saturday guys, and they haven't even pitched yet this weekend. So what are they going to be like? I don't know if we're going to see them today. So there's a lot. We've seen how many guys out of the pen. There's still a lot left, and the one thing I take is, had you opened up against SEMO and you put up godly numbers, then we'd be all freaking out about how good this team is. They've played 2 really good teams and found different ways to win both of those games. And so you take positives from that. Like Van Horn said, it was a gutty performance on Saturday night to win that game. And they found a way to win and took advantage of mistakes by Texas Tech. Last night, they got just enough hits and really good pitching. So what's tonight's storyline going to be? So there are positives you can take. Yeah, you don't want to blow it out of proportion, but they beat 2 really good teams to start the season instead of playing SEMO this week and putting up 80 runs. So I think it's a good start so far. But yeah, there's 52 more games left in the regular season.
Jason Carroll joining us here on Halftime. Jason, let's switch it over to men's basketball just for a little bit. You got the first top 25 matchup, and I never realized this. We brought this up earlier. This is the first top 25 matchup inside Bud Walton Arena since 1998. That is crazy to think about, but you're going to have 2 teams in here that, Alabama's been playing pretty well as of late after losing a couple weeks ago. And then you got Arkansas, one of the hottest teams in the SEC, and not being able to play this weekend because A&M chickened out or used COVID as an excuse, but that's neither here or there. What's your expectations? What's your vibe? What's your feeling about Arkansas, Alabama this week?
Well, which Alabama team are you going to get? Which Arkansas team are you going to get? I mean, you got Justin Smith this time around, so I don't think you're going to get blown out by 30. But can you do Vanderbilt had a chance to beat Alabama on Saturday. Can Arkansas find ways to make that game close like that Vanderbilt-Alabama game was, and being at home, make some plays down the stretch to win that game? Arkansas is capable of winning both of these games this week, winning out, and maybe having a chance, if Alabama were to falter, to tie for the league, win the league. If they were able to get that makeup game in the end of the year, somehow Alabama loses 4 straight, which I don't think is going to happen. But Arkansas is capable of winning Wednesday night. But which team shows up? I mean, you've got to play a full 40 minutes. You can't come out and get behind like you did in Tuscaloosa and not be able to come back. Same thing with Saturday when you host LSU. I mean, you've got to be in it early. Mm-hmm. Whether you're leading or not, you've got to be in it. You can't get behind, because I don't know if they're going to be able to come back against Alabama or LSU if they get behind like they did in Tuscaloosa and Baton Rouge.
Obviously, you want to try to win every game you want to play, but is there a game in your mind that's more important to win, and specifically Alabama or LSU? Because obviously LSU's got the tiebreaker on you in the conference standings, but I think if you beat Alabama, that might mean more for you long-term as far as in the NCAA tournament. Is there a game in your mind, though, that is more important than the other to try to get the W?
They're both quad one or should be quad one wins. But Alabama's the team you want to beat. I mean, they're the league leaders, so you want to beat them. It's a top 25 matchup, top 20 matchup, and so that's the one you really want. If you were going to choose, I mean, obviously you want to win both, but that's the one I think Arkansas would really want to win Wednesday night.
And real quick,
I think it means more, on the national landscape, beating a top 10 team at home.
I agree completely. Real quick before we throw it back over to Phil, it is National Margarita Day. Is Jason Carroll a margarita guy?
I will drink them, but I'm not. That's not my go-to. That's not what I'm, going to order if I'm at a restaurant.
What's your go-to?
A little bourbon.
Okay.
So
not surprised about that. Jason, you didn't bring me down. You're not. You were not.
He was rather chipper today.
You were very chipper. I'm slightly disappointed.
I tried to change my tune. I told Matty T right before I came on, Phil underestimates me, but I tried to keep it positive.
All right.
The only negative is that we're not all together today.
That's a good point. That is the downfall.
And I think we're all jealous of the fact you're sitting there in Arlington and we're in Fayetteville. Although it is a nice, sunshiny day, really not many clouds in the sky, and the snow's almost melted. So I think we're looking up. Other than the bad weather, we're going to get cold weather and some rainy weather this weekend.
I know.
Phil's going to come back into Arkansas this week or tomorrow, tonight, whenever he gets back. And he ain't going to recognize it because he left it. It was just snow white everywhere.
Well, when I came into Texas, it was exactly the same thing. There was even some snow still on the roof at the baseball park. By the way, it's so nice here today. It's like in the mid 60s. Open this roof for crying out loud. Let's get some fresh air inside this building. I doubt they'll do it. Jason, come back over on Monday and come see your cat. She misses you.
Hey, I'll do that, and you enjoy the game tonight.
You got it. All right, that's Jason Carroll, our man, the sports director at Pig Trail Nation, joining us every Monday. All right, SmackDown. We've got one more thing to do here. If you want to get with us, 877-377-6963. What is your go-to margarita? You know what I am? I am pretty much just a straightforward lime margarita on the rocks with salt. Don't need anything else. Don't like the frozen ones.
No.
I don't like to get the ice cream headache. From a margarita.
Completely agree.
Doesn't work for me.
We're going to have a lot of fun with that coming up in this next segment. If you want to send us your favorite margaritas, what's your favorite go-to margarita, your flavor? Or if you're not a margarita person, what's your go-to cocktail? What's your go-to cocktail choice? Text or call us anywhere on social media, 877-377-6963. That is your favorite margarita, and that's coming up next here on Halftime.
Cherry on the top right after this.